So have there been times where you may have said that you battled and you may have lost and you look back and was like, oh, you felt like you should have won that night, or you felt the opinion should have went another way or anything?
Yeah. I have, but like, and I think that's why Ballroom, the whole thing is in a ventilator. You know, it's
In a ventilator?
it did. Ballroom's in a ventilator. Yeah, it's like it's, you know, half dead, half alive, and because of you know, they have the girlfriend panel and, you know, the house number thing. And that brings me to the situation just currently happening here in New York, where I was, let me explain the whole story. I was originally a judge.
Vote nights, correct?
Vote night.
Mm-hmm.
Luna was judging, so as I was out by the door by the bar somewhere, Luna was leaving. Luna was like, you know, Shanice, I'm about to leave, but you mind, you know, sitting in my seat and judging for me? I'm like, yeah, sure, you know, I don't mind. So I did that. So I did that, and I started to judge the ball, and there was a young lady who was in the House of Ebony. I don't remember her name. But she walked, I gave her 10s, and when it was time for her to battle, I chose over her.
And for those that don't know, you are the overall mother of the House of Ebony.
I am. So I chose over her, and it was just, but then it was just a big thing, such a big thing.
Why was it a big thing?
Because the stereotype again, this living in the box, whereas the expectations of me and my decisions are supposed to be guided or directed by how other people do things, and which is completely wrong.
Basically, being that you should not vote over your house members, correct?
Basically.
Do you agree?
What, that I shouldn't?
Yes.
No, I can vote who I want to vote and chop who I want to chop. That's the judge. That's the responsibility of being a judge. And I think that's why Ballroom is on a ventilator. It's because this girlfriend panels and the you know, and his house members. Like, you know what I mean? And in the day, she was real. I gave her my 10. So that right there was grace enough. And there was no disrespect to her. There's no shade to her at all. Because I'm not that type of woman. Oh, especially with something so mediocre.
Did she have a reaction to it?
You seen it? I mean, yeah, it was, I mean, but at the same time, like, you know, she's a young girl. And, you know, one thing I try to always do is step outside the way I think or my perception, and try to see it from a different point of view, from their perspective. And if I was in her shoes, I would have felt some type of way too. But I think my way of going about it was completely wrong. Just like at the Mugler Ball, if I stand correctly, Stewart was judging from Queen Face.
Stewart Ebony.
Stewart Ebony. He gave me my 10s, but he chose over me. You know, and even with that, I didn't understand it at that time. Was I feeling some type of way? Maybe. Yeah, I felt some type of way, but it was a feeling. You know, feelings last, what, 1-2 seconds.
So you got over it?
Very, very much so. That's what mature people do.
So you're fine with Stewart? You wasn't upset or held on to it, any of that?
For what? For what? At the end of the day, you know, like I said, I'm a respectful person. Stewart is my elder. You know, Stewart is my aunt. You know, ages of my aunts and my uncles. You know, anyone who's older than me, like even if you're younger than me, I'm a respectable person. Like I would, especially if I'm with disrespect someone over something that's so irrelevant when it comes to reality check. You know, even though it was $5,000, but Stewart was entitled to his opinion, and the fact that I'm the mother of the house that he's a part of, I was not obligated for his vote. I was not, and I think like I said, why Ballroom is on the ventilator, life support, is because of that. It's because people come to Ballroom and they get in these houses, and for some in this house, like it's automatically going to work for me. And one thing I would say is that
it don't go like that.
No, the truth is, let your first name and the talent that follows speaks for itself. Then whatever house you are a part of or you're in, then
you represent that.
Then you represent that. But the first is about your brand, about what you and your talent. You can't. And I've learned that you will never be disappointed or upset if you never expect anything from anyone. Like nothing in this world is given to you. You have to work for it. You have to earn it.
But touching upon the Mugler Ball, you made a post, I think the next day or the day after, basically saying that you shouldn't have walked. You should have went with your feelings.
Right.
You're someone that's walked many Femme Queen facing other grand prizes. You walked when there's been no money. What happened that day? Was you on your A game? Was you off?
Well,
because I remember there was a time when you said you was never cutting your hair bald again.
Right, but and the thing is, the times that I have lost, actually, like the creative control I always trusted someone else with that.
Did they give you the
I've always was like, okay, well, I want to trust. Every time I had one, I was always in creative control because I know what works for me. I know what look will get me through. But at the same time, obviously, with the Mugler Ball, my signature look didn't get me through because I was told that I've done that look before. But now that we're talking about it, let's not get in on it. But like from what I understand, like even Stu would say that if I stand correctly, that I've done that look before. But when it comes to repeating a look, like people repeat looks every day. Like men go to the barber shop and get a haircut and shaver once a week. Women go to the hairdresser and get their nails done. They go to the hairdresser to get their weaves retouched up. Like when it comes to repeating a look, that's just what it is. You see what I'm saying? Like when people walk face or whatever. We walk face, and boys, the men that walk face, they go get a shape up, they go get a haircut, and all of that. But that's just the way how I felt about it and I don't even know if Stewart said that. This is what I was told that he said. When I talked to Stewart, me and him never even talked about that. So that's how I feel about that. But in the day, that still doesn't change the fact that he's a grown man. He's entitled to do and choose and pick who he want to pick. And who am I to question that?
What was out of your creative control that day?
Everything. I mean, I don't regret it. I don't regret it because, like I said, I looked at it now. I learned from that. I've learned from that sometimes I'm somewhat a control freak, and like I said, I try to always challenge myself. Try to challenge myself and to become more humble, and not always trying to be front and center of all situations. But what happened? What were we talking about?